bad or something?
What is good, Gamble Factory family? It's your boy ZROB and Coach T Posey. We're back, ready to talk some Monday Night Football. We get two games again. This is pretty awesome. I didn't even look at the schedule ahead of the season and notice that we're going to get multiple weeks with two games on Monday. I don't know further on if we're going to get that, but I absolutely love it. It's nice being able to pick from two games instead of just one. As you see last night, when you do just a single stack, it sometimes doesn't work out for you. We predicted that the Raiders were going to be leading, and obviously that didn't happen, so that's why this slip was complete shock. But we're back. We're ready to run it back again today. Tyler, how you feeling?
Well, these games should be a little bit better than last night, I would hope. Just it's just ugly when the Steelers play. I don't know why, what they do to it. They just muddy up games, so they're not like the most aesthetically pleasing to watch. Hopefully, we get a little bit of slinging around tonight with Burrow and Stafford and even Baker Mayfield. Let's let this guy throw it around quite a bit, huh? But yeah, I think it's a lot better games, a lot more quality of players. So I'm excited to see some games tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely pumped about it, and appreciate you guys again popping in here. We're over 100. That's awesome to see, especially for midday on a Monday. So I know we're all ready to win back our coin from last night, for sure. So, Tyler, do you have anything that you want to start on? And definitely chat. Throw in your favorite plays of the day too. So we're gonna cook up something. Hopefully, we can finally hit that stream 25x that we've been after.
Yeah, we've been too close too many times. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. Yeah, I'll start with probably one of the few that have not got bumped yet, and that's Baker Mayfield over 33 and a half pass attempts.
Yeah, that's on my list
Uh,
too, and it looks like my wife is also a big fan of it too. She's in chat
yeah,
saying Baker Stan. So
let's go. So yeah, this one looks really good because he's playing the Eagles, who are minus 5, 6 point favorites depending on the book you have. So it looks like teams play from behind against them quite often. They've been very good this year, especially against the run. Even though the Patriots game was pretty close before, they only carried it for like 3.5 yards per carry. So the Eagles top front seven has been really good against stopping the run. And then you go back to the Vikings game. Uh, I guess that was last week. We game stacked that one, and they only ran 9 times. So both teams have like 44 and like 40 something passes per game against them, and it's because they jump out in front, they get you the lead, and obviously you're trying to play catch up. And so I don't think that's going to be any different tonight with the Buccaneers. Baker's already thrown 34 in both of his games so far this year against the Vikings and the Bears, winning both of those games. Weirdly enough, beat the Vikings. But I don't think that same game script is tonight. I still think that the Eagles are clearly superior, and Baker will definitely surpass his 33.5. I think the odds favored as well.
Yeah, it is. Definitely love the play. Had that on my list as well. I was gonna bring it up. Figured you'd be proud of me for bringing in a pass attempts prop.
Yeah,
But I love
couldn't
it.
let you bring it up. Yeah.
I love it. Just to add on to that, the Eagles' incredible pass rush. I think they have like one of the best in the league, if not the best. So Baker's gonna have to be throwing the ball quick. They have the number two defensive or rush defense in the league also. So kind of bodes well for a play that kind of correlates with this. And I think that is interesting to take is Rachaad White under rush yards. He's at 48.5. He crushed this last week against Chicago. Different game script. Also different defense too. But under his 48.5 rush yards, if we think Baker's going to have to pass the ball a lot, and we got Rachaad White going up against a really tough matchup, I don't see him hitting this line. I know our under last night, it didn't work out for us, but it's a little bit different situation here. If we're predicting the Buccaneers to be playing from behind, which obviously the Bucs are also, we're predicting Baker to have to throw a lot. That leaves less rush attempts for Rachaad White, especially against a tough Eagles rush defense. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm looking at that one as well. He's not been very efficient outside of like last week only, and he had that extra work too. I just don't think. I don't think they run it enough for him to get there, especially against this tougher defense. So yeah, I don't see any way that happens. I just not happening. He's going under that. It's a great pick.
Yep. And
What's
appreciate.
his rush attempts at?
Let's see. So let me get back over to the screen. 13.5, which also is kind of see. I mean, he's hit 17 each of the last 2 weeks, but like we said, different game scripts, so that's why it is lower. He may. I mean, he even if he gets that many rush attempts, he shouldn't be that efficient with it as long as he doesn't break off a big one.
Yeah, exactly.
Appreciate you guys coming in here, showing some love. Definitely appreciate it. Got several coming in here, popping in, saying hi. Got some guys on our lunch break. Love to see it. Got over 150 people in here. That's freaking awesome. Just do us a favor, like, make sure you subscribe. It's definitely appreciate you guys joining in.
Okay.
Tyler's trying to sneak in some plays. He's actually at work right now. So
I gotta take this. So
you good, bro?
yeah, I'm good now.
Okay. Can't believe those students are interrupting you at work, man. What the heck's going on?
I know, man.
So no, we don't have to put in Rachaad White under if we want to take all overs later, but just a prop I thought I'd bring up when you brought up Baker Mayfield. Do you like any of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pass catchers today? I kind of like all three of their main ones with Evans, Godwin, and even K. Dotton. But
yeah, I mean, I liked Evans 7.5 targets earlier. I gotta take this. Yeah, Carly, sorry. I had to make sure I let my students know that it's not time for this. It's time for streaming. But I like Mike Evans 7.5 targets earlier. So yeah, another big one. But I think I can also go to Mike Evans receiving yards. He just seems to have that big play threat, and with Baker throwing so many times, I just think he gets there. It's weird though. You look at his receptions at 4.5. They're favored highly under, and I'm not sure.
I'm confused about that too.
That makes, to me, it doesn't make any sense, and I'm not sure if there's some kind of weather issue that I'm not understanding.
So there's a chance there's scattered thunderstorm chance, especially like at the beginning of the game right now, but I haven't seen anything about like high winds or like severe thunderstorms. So I'm not really worried about the rain personally.
Yeah, that one honestly that really shocked me that his thing was at 4.5 and favored so heavily under, because you look at receiving yards, they're like minus 130 on most of the books at 57.5. So a little strange.
No, I like it too. I actually played Evans receiving yards earlier at 54.5, so it bumped.
It bumped a little bit. Even still is favored over.
Have you looked at Kate Otten at all today?
Yeah, I took his. Well, I don't know that I posted it yet, but I think I did take his receptions over on Sleeper at 2.5.
Okay, yeah, I like his targets at 4.5.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a guy that's been on the field basically every single snap for the Buccaneers. I think last week he had 6 targets, so it kind of correlates well too with the Baker pass attempts. Oh yeah, Will K. He actually just brought up odd and reception targets too, so he's on it as
And Will
well.
K is on my list today, man. He's mentioned several that I have on my list.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Love to see it. But we can come back to the Buccaneers. I mean, there's several that I'm actually kind of liking, just because I think they have to pass the ball a lot. Are you liking anything on the Eagles side of the ball?
Not really, no.
What?
I haven't found anything there that I really just love.
So earlier I was on Devonte Smith. I posted him. I still like him a lot, but the more I think about it today, I've been kind of leaning more towards AJ Brown. This dude, he was mad last week. He wanted some more looks. He hasn't popped off for a huge game yet this year, and it just seems like a game where they might try and force feed him a touchdown or something, or at least force feed him several looks. I was kind of eyeing his 14.5 fantasy score. He's at 70.5 receiving yards and 5 receptions on Prizepicks, so that's already 12 points there. Um, I just think possibly baking in that chance at a touchdown might be good with that fantasy score prop. So I don't know.
Do, I mean, obviously the game script's not in his favor. Obviously, they're going to get to that point. They're going to have to make some plays, obviously.
Yep.
So it almost has to be to him at that point. I feel like,
No.
but yeah, I really like the you look. I love finding those receivers get pissed off the game before,
Hmm.
especially those big target receivers, big primetime guys, and they really try to lock into them pretty hard that next game. So yeah, I'm with it. I'm okay with that logic.
Yeah, I think it. I don't know. It just kind of plays in. I mean, it's tough taking on like a receiver's crying about it on the sideline, but when you got a guy like AJ Brown who's pissed, you want to make him happy. You brought him there. You paid him a lot of money. You want to keep him happy throughout the whole season. You don't want him asking for a trade or anything weird like that. So,
Yeah,
and I think the Buccaneers have, in my opinion, overplayed to their like expectation on defense so far to start the year. I don't think they're as good as they maybe seem on paper. I could be wrong, but I think wide receivers have kind of ate against the Bucs too. Yeah, DJ Moore, 6 catches for 104 last week with Justin Fields at quarterback.
yeah, exactly.
And I believe they played, yeah, Justin Jefferson ate against them week 1. So I think it's a good spot for AJ Brown, and I think I lean his fantasy score just so we can kind of take advantage of a touchdown, possibly. So
Yeah, I'm with that. Like if we're doing it, definitely it's gonna be that fantasy score for me too.
yep. But yeah, that's really it for the Eagles. I mean, there's several decent props, but it's just kind of hard to tell with the Eagles today. I don't really have a great read on them.
Yeah,
Um,
no, me either.
so that's probably it for that game. What about the Bengals and Rams? What are you liking for them?
Bengals and Rams. I mean, I keep going back to Matthew Stafford's pass attempts a lot.
Okay.
The problem is this game is a little bit projected to be a little bit closer than some of his previous games,
Mhm.
and the pass attempts are on the books favored pretty, I mean, decently heavily on 34 and a half. Prize Picks has him at 35 and a half. I don't know that that still matters too much for me. I just think you got to think Cincinnati figures it out at some point.
Mhm.
Hey, there's no way they just continue to get shut over. I am a little concerned with Joe Burrow's injury and them coming out and saying that either they're gonna have to play through it or sit a couple of weeks. Like that's not ideal hearing that type of injury news. But obviously the books don't really mind it because they were 2 point favorites earlier, and now Cincinnati's 3 point favorites. So
Yeah, that
the
kind
books
of
are
leads me to thinking that Burrow plays. But
and plays fine too. It seems like it's what
mhm.
the books think. I think they may be leading on about that injury a little bit too much. Uh, and and the Bengals are at home. They're gonna you can't go out and lose 2 games in a row at home. You just can't do it. So I think they bounce back. I think it's a lot better of a matchup for them. So I still think Matthew Stafford has to throw it to keep up, but the odds are pretty even money on that 35 and a half.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me. You brought up the Bengals kind of figuring it out. They're playing at home. They're playing from a lead. If we think Stafford's going to throw a ball a lot, then usually that means obviously they're underdogs, so we think that the other team's probably doing pretty well. That leads me to Joe Mixon. We got several bringing it up in chat. everybody's liking Joe Mixon today. I'm liking Joe Mixon today. I took his rush yards earlier. I think it's been bumped by a couple. Um, but do you have any thoughts on Joe Mixon today?
I'm probably going to play his 14 and a half attempts.
I figured you were gonna say that. I like
Yeah,
it. I like it a lot.
he does. You look back to games last year and these blowout games, like or not necessarily blowout games, but wins within, a couple touchdowns. He's got a 24, he's got a 17, 22, like 16. Like he's getting the ball and he's moving with it. They're handing to him quite often. So, yeah, I think that they look to do that at 14 and a half.
So I'm also it's 15.5 on multiple books now too. So we're getting good value on Prizepicks. It's going to be bumped to 15 at least um, pretty soon, I think. Now that he's 15.5 on the book, so if we think Burrow's banged up and the Bengals are going to do well, they're going to try and run the ball. So I really like the 14.5 rush attempts, and I know several others were talking about it in chat as well. And his rushing yards has already bumped up like 3 yards since we took it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think in rush attempts it's still the same, so I think it's a really good prop to probably take.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't end up with 13 rushes last game. Weirdly, like they're playing from behind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
not
th-
really. It was a pretty even game script for the most part, actually.
wish
Looking back, Burrow threw 41 times. I just don't think they want him throwing 41 times this week. It just can't be what they want. If he's really truly hurting, they don't want him throwing that many times.
I agree. And then week one they were playing from behind the entire time. He only played 63% of snaps, still had 13 carries. I think he didn't play the full game because they took out their starters because they were kind of getting whooped on.
Yeah, they got smoked against the Browns.
So I like the spot for Mixon. He's underperformed to start the year. He's gonna pick it up.
Yeah, what's his line in terms of receptions? Because he's very active in the pass game. He's pretty much active in all parts of the game, but
He has a
he's certainly active.
28.5 receiving yards, no reception prop on Prizepicks.
Okay, yeah. So I wouldn't touch it then. If he was going to be at 2.5, 3.5, then I'd probably look into that. But
I
yeah, I
agree.
think probably rush attempts is probably the idea here.
Got a couple people bringing up the Eagles running backs. So if I had a lean on which running back was going to get more work, I would love to take one because I think both their lines are kind of low. Gainwell and Swift, that is. It's just like week one, Gainwell was healthy. Gainwell outperformed and outsnapped Swift. I don't even actually, yeah, I don't think Swift played that much. I'll look it up again real quick. Gainwell didn't play last week, so that's why Swift was the man. He obviously had a great week. Yeah, Swift only played 29% of snaps. Gainwell played 62% in week one. I think we see closer to a 50-50 split, maybe leaning more Gainwell just because like week one that was their guy. So it's just kind of hard to tell with them. If you have a good lean on Swift or Gainwell today, you could make a lot of money just because both lines are pretty low because the books honestly I don't think know who's going to be the guy. Let's see. What else do we got? Are you liking anything else on the Ram side? What about the young wagon Puka Nakua?
Yeah, I feel like his props are pretty fair, at least according to the books. I want to go to Tutu Atwell, and I loved his 4.5 receptions earlier this morning, and I actually played it. But odds then at that time were like minus 125. I just don't understand why he got moved to about minus 150 on the under for 4.5. I'm not sure that I understand the reasoning behind that.
It is alarming though when you get a big move like that.
Yeah, that's a massive move. So I have to be probably missing something. I'm not sure what that will be.
Yeah, Puka, I played him earlier. I took him 5.5 receptions, and then I also took his like receiving yards at 64. He's had a big bump, so I love Puka today. I think he probably hits any of these lines. It's just I don't love taking guys when they've been bumped that much already. I like to just keep the value I've already gotten locked in. So big Puka guy today. I think he has a great game, but I just think these lines are bumped so much. I don't really want to take it anymore personally.
Yeah. So I mean, do you like Atwell or just
So
avoid him?
I like Atwell. I mean, what's has been his targets so far? I know he's been getting a ton. Let me look real quick.
Back and pull it up.
I got it right here. So he's got an 8 and 9 targets. If we think the Rams are going to throw the ball a lot, that probably continues. I don't see why it wouldn't. The only thing that alarms me is the odds on Tutu's
Yeah,
receptions.
I don't understand it, man. Like that was the prop. I love this one. That's probably one of my favorite ones.
Cause I don't I'm not afraid to go against the books, but when you got like minus 150 on the under 4.5, it's definitely a little alarming. I would probably still lean over, but you don't want to play this on Prize Picks when you can get it
No,
plus 120
I
on
would.
a book if you're able to bet that there. What about his receiving yards? Is that, let's see,
Well,
52.5, 54.5
yeah,
on some books?
I just don't want to do it if they're that heavily favored on the under 4.5. I think like something just alarms me whenever something like that drastically happens.
Yep. We're getting some Smith fantasy. I like Smith today. I played him in my first slip. I've just recently throughout the day started leaning more AJ Brown. Smith is a great play. I think he has no problems against the Buccaneers defense. So nothing wrong with that at all. Tutu's already been bumped, Ivan says. So yeah. Um, so let's see who we got. We got Baker pass attempts probably for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then are we gonna do Rashad White under 48.5 rush yards?
Yes.
And then let's see, we got AJ Brown fantasy score. Do we want to do that?
Yeah, I do. I think they'll fit
Okay.
you pretty hard.
And then Joe Mixon rush attempts is probably what we're gonna lock
Yes.
in. So that's
Yeah.
4 right there.
Yeah. Did you? If we think Joe Mixon's going to have those rush attempts, you going to go back to Stafford's pass attempts?
So I think I'm fine with that. Is that the best Stafford prop? I know we're
Yeah, we can
technically
go look
not
at.
getting as good a value as the books,
That's true.
um, but that 35.5 does seem low. They've been willing to throw the ball a lot, but they've been down both games. Correct? I can't remember week 1.
I mean, yeah,
Week 1, I
week two
think
they
it was
got
pretty
down later.
more neutral. I think if I remember
Yeah,
correct.
it's a more neutral game script, but it still was like, yeah, I think they barely. I don't know why I can't remember this, but they were in the game against the 49ers. No, they smoked the Seahawks week one, by the way,
Oh, did they?
30-13. So yeah, they smoked them, and he ended up throwing like 38 times
Okay, so
in
that's definitely
a blowout.
promising.
Yeah, and they also ran it 40 times with Akers and Kyron Williams. So now
Wow.
that they don't have Akers with they don't have Akers anymore, so I would think they don't run Kyron Williams 30 times. I mean,
They
you
probably
go
don't.
back. No, there's no way. So you go back to last week in a decent game script in the first half, but it kind of like second half got away from him just a little bit, and he obviously threw way too many times, 55 times. But Kyron Williams only got 14 carries. Now the game script had something to do with that. They're not wanting to do that a lot. They had like they had 4 different touches from wide receivers in the running game. So they don't have anybody other than Kyron Williams, and they're not going to want to run him to the ground. So I still think that 35.5 is too low.
Got some Ethan Evans under 4.5 punts for the Rams.
Oh boy.
Guys, I know you guys like taking the kickers and punters, but I'm pretty sure Tyler and I have never gotten a kicker right ever in our life. -1.
Yeah,
If it's a
somebody
good
said,
odds play, I'd be down to do it. But
yeah, Trey FN said, I guess kickers and punters don't exist to these guys. No, they don't, man.
no, they really don't.
They,
I mean, it's just we can't get them right. We're always off on them.
yeah. Yeah, and then Will K says like minus 135 under on Kyron rush attempts. So I
Really.
think the books can go under as well. So which means that they think he'll pass more. That's just the bottom line. So I think the Stafford 35.5 is a good line.
I'm down to
Not the
lock it
great,
in.
yeah, it's not a great line because the 34.5 could be there, but it's a good line.
What about I don't know what we're gonna do with the Rams receivers. Maybe fade them on this slip. Probably. We talked about Kate Otten earlier. His reception targets. I don't know if you have any interest in that. Correlates well with Baker over pass attempts, Rashad White under rush yards, and we don't have a Buccaneers receiver in our slip. So
Yeah, we probably need something with that, especially since we think you're going to do something. And what they have is probably his receptions, not even on there, but they only have his targets on there. Is that correct?
correct. They have his fantasy score on there at 6.5, but I think that probably seems right.
That's 6.5. Yeah, that's probably pretty close to right.
So we got my man Nate has talked up Brett Maher so much.
Oh
Let's
my
see.
God,
Kicking
check him
points,
out.
he's favored under 6.5. I'm gonna look. What is he at on Prizepicks? I mean, I just can't do it. Unless it's just a great odds play for a kicker. I just can't play it just because I just can't predict them, man. Evans targets, I like that too. I like Evans today. Y'all don't think the Eagles will punt 4 times? I don't think they have any issue moving the ball. So, what's the who's the punter for the Eagles? Can't even find him on here. But if his line's set at 4, am I tripping? Oh, there he is. Oh, he's at 3.5. Yeah, I mean
All
he.
right, so this might be something. Keep going, keep talking, but I think I might have found something.
No, so the punter. I mean,
Let
that,
me,
honestly, if it's at 3.5, uh, the over is definitely in play. We got several saying K dot and reception targets. They like it.
okay, so let's back to week one, and this is you'll see why I kind of stop you. You go back to week one, and the Eagles gave up 9 targets to tight ends against the New England Patriots with Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki.
Mm-hmm.
9 targets to them. All right, you go back to week two. Week two, they played the Vikings. T.J. Hawkinson had 8 targets against them, and Josh Oliver, the other tight end, had 3 more targets. So they've given up
I got it in the slip.
20. All right, perfect.
I,
They're giving up a lot to tight ends. You go look at their defensive first matchup, and they are giving up the most fantasy points per game to tight ends in the entire league.
no, I love it. I think that's a great play. I don't need to be personally convinced otherwise because we brought it up earlier. We got several in the chat also kind of digging it. We don't have a Buccaneers receiver in the list at all, so it correlates perfectly with the Buccaneers having to pass, having to play from behind. So
Yeah, boom. Let's lock this thing in there.
I love the slip. It looks really good actually. So, um, chat, this is what we're gonna do. We got Baker Mayfield over 33.5 pass attempts. Rashad White, the only under in our list. We're going under 48.5 rush yards. AJ Brown over 14.5 fantasy score. My man's scoring a tutty today. He has to. Joe Mixon over 14.5 rush attempts. Matthew Stafford over 35.5 pass. Oh, sorry. Joe Mixon is rush attempts, not pass attempts. Matt Stafford is over 35.5 pass attempts, and Kate Otten over 4.5 reception targets. We have some good correlation in this slip. We're obviously thinking the Buccaneers play from behind. As we saw last night, we didn't predict our game script correctly, so I mean it's just part of it. So chat, if you love the slip, lock it in. This is what we're going for. Rams only, dude. You guys love kickers and punters in chat. That is crazy. We're gonna have to start diving into
Yeah, I
the
have not
kicking
ever
props.
taken a kicker and punter and getting it correct. I don't. I don't
I'll,
think I have.
I'll even play them when it's like minus 150 or something like that on the books, and I still won't hit it. White gonna hit them rushing yards, man. I don't see your logic in that at all, unless you're just looking at the last game. He very well could. Don't play the under just because we are. You should never play a prop just because we say it. It's all on
No.
you guys to submit whatever you love. We're just here sharing our thoughts on it. But just know he has one of the hardest, if not the hardest, rushing matchups in the league, and they're almost touchdown underdogs. Correct?
Yeah.
5 point underdogs.
It
So
was 6. I mean, it's 5. It's hovering around 5 and 6.
just know that it's not a good game script for him to rush. He's probably going to have to break over a 10-yard run in order to hit this. I just don't see him being super efficient. How about tackles and assists? There's nothing that stood out to me. I don't know about if you looked that much, Tyler, for tackles and
Yeah,
assists.
a little bit of Jordan Fuller, but nothing outside of him. I think he's at 6.5. The odds are not the best. I mean, they're at minus 120 on the books that I would trust. The odds aren't great, but he is a kind of machine. Like covered it both times this year. He covered it not as much last year. He was a little hurt, a little banged up. But you go back to his previous games, like he's a tackle machine. So that would be the one that I would go to.
Who'd you
But
say again?
his name's Jordan Fuller.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was just making sure because Nate just also brought him up in chat too. So
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Well, yeah, I love it, Nate.
Who else we
It's a
got?
good one. Not one of my favorites, but it was a good one.
I'm not all in on Stafford, especially since PP has it up one over Pinnacle. That's fair. It is definitely not as good as value according to the books.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Goddard. Goddard's solid. I think his lines are probably right. 38.5 receiving yards. Yeah, week one was a fluke, so you can't even take that into account. But I like some Goddard. His lines just seem to be like his reception targets are bumped, and that's probably pretty close to what he ends on today.
What is he about 4 or something like that? 4 and 38.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's pretty fair.
Will K brought up the Puka and Mike Evans receiving yard combo. I think yeah. I see. Let's see what it is. 124. I kind of like it a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if Puka hits that himself. Honestly, he's gotten 35 targets through 2 weeks, which is I don't know. That's probably a record. Show all the picks again, please. I got you. It's Baker.
Who is my man Will? One sec. Who is my man Will K? And why are you on our list?
Will K knows, man. So these are our top three: Baker, Rashad White, AJ Brown. Rashad White's an under for us. And then our next three, we got Joe Mixon, Stafford, and Auden, all overs. Favorite two or three? Our favorite two, man. We're getting asked that a couple times. Tyler, do you have a favorite play today? Oh, my man Tyler just RIP'd or something. He got booted. So I'll take it over from here. If I had to pick my favorite two, I'm probably going Baker pass attempts just because it seems like a have to pass environment for Baker. And then my next one would maybe be. I'm probably going to lean Joe Mixon rush attempts. I like that a lot. I think they're going to try and run the ball a lot. As long as they don't get behind. Oh, he's back. As long as they don't get behind, I think they'll probably have to run the ball a lot. I don't know what's going on with Tyler. He keeps coming in and out. So that's probably my top two: Joe Mixon rush attempts and Baker Mayfield pass attempts. Blake Snell over fantasy points MLB. I know you're looking at those last five, man. He's greened out. Actually played him on Betr. 17.5 outs looked like a very good play. If you're not over on Betr, check it out. My code's in the description below. We have gone crazy over there. Godwin receiving yards. Eagles give up the most yards from the slot. Yes, they do. That's a very good point. Zephyr Piper. I like that one a lot too. 53.5 yards. That's too low. Baker's going to have to pass the ball quick. And that's going to lead to more targets for Chris Godwin. I think that's a great call. Burrow unders. Do they have Burrow props up? They do. They just put them up. Honestly, I do like those Burrow unders, especially because we think Mixon's going to run the ball a decent amount, and they're playing from the lead. So those Burrow unders looks really good. I'd probably go under pass attempts, honestly. If we're taking a Mixon over rush attempts, Burrow under pass attempts looks pretty good. Stay away from baseball, too volatile. Especially at the end of the season, man, baseball is tough. Zach, do you do NBA? Yes. Me and Tyler both do NBA. That's probably, I don't know if it's better than NFL or not, but we absolutely love NBA.
Yeah, that's where we got our DFS start, was NBA.
There we go. Tyler's back on the mic. But yeah, that's where we got started was NBA. So that's probably what we know best, honestly. So hockey, Tyler dabbles in hockey sometimes.
Yeah, I do hockey here and there, for sure. Not my favorite sport to cover, but there's some good targets on the shots on goals, what I typically try to take. And sometimes I'll hit into some goalie saves, but I don't do a ton of hockey. Just kind of fill the gap when there was no NBA. But I think would be a nice overlap this year, so we should be able to do it all.
Luka or nothing. Aaron knows, man. The wagon. If you're not betting Luka over first half, literally anything, you hate money. It's free. It's not free, but it's like 75 to 80% hit rate depending on what they have as prop set at.
I mean, this man single-handedly had Luka bumped throughout the year several times.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I mean, I can't imagine like how many hundreds of thousands of dollars was probably won on Luka first half anything last year, especially like in December when we went crazy with the 25Xs. The end of October is going to be lit for sure. Yes, it is, dude. I can't wait when we have football and basketball both going. The fall to winter time period is the best. I mean, Bam is banned for life.
Bam has sold me so many times in rebounds. Like he'll get 5 in the first quarter, his man will end with 8, and it's propped 8.5. He's done that to me in an absurd amount of time.
Dude,
man.
you brought that up like 3 days ago too. That's hilarious that he said that.
I did. I mean, he just gives me dreams of like haunting my dreams.
I see Soda's asking about 2-2 yards. I'll let you talk about that. You're a big 2-2 guy.
Man, I like Tutu tonight. I think he gets over 4.5 receptions, but we can't play it here on the books because, well, we can't play it here in Prizepicks because the DFS would make sense at minus 150 odds. It just doesn't make any sense. He's getting the targets, he's getting the looks. I think Stafford passes the ball a ton tonight. I just am not sure what the lines are. So if you're going to play that, I would certainly play that over on the books if you have a book.
Nate said Sabonis is the daddy of Prizepicks. I love me some Sabonis. Dude,
Sabonis first half was kind of a go-to.
Absolute wagon. Like he's up there with almost up there with Luka wagon status. No, Mixon did not get bumped. I haven't even locked into slip yet. Bro,
you knew it was coming.
This would be 2 days in a row that I just goofed up. Not even. I'll let you answer some questions in chat, Tyler. I gotta get this locked in real quick.
Yeah, Sabonis rebounds a fantasy score last year was definitely free. Big D's like that got me a lot of money. I would days that Luka played and Sabonis played, I would just stack their first half fantasy scores or PRA and just absolutely crush it. Yes, Bam works for Prizepicks, Ivan. There is no question about it. There's no question. He is Mr. Seller. Like I don't understand. There's no other name. He's just Mr. Seller. I agree. I think he cost me 2 or 3 different 25Xs last year by hooking after getting half of his rebounds in the very first quarter. It's just insane. Dude, yes, Steven Adams wasn't like tank. That was a low-key, tank. So low-key, like, good one last year whenever he was healthy. PRA in that first half was always money.
Dude,
you're getting me hyped talking about NBA and NFL, man.
Just about to say, I got goosebumps talking about it right now. No, Joe Mixon has not been bumped yet. We're good.
Oh, Embiid also was a wagon in the first half last year.
Yep, Embiid definitely was a wagon. Dude, these first half wagons I got goosebumps thinking about it, bro.
Oh, he said, I guess Mixon's rushing yards were bumped.
Oh, okay. That did get bumped. Y'all remember Paulo's Taco when he would sell? Oh.
Dude, Messman Paulo would sell everything every single time for a long period of time, and then he finally kind of woke up a little bit and did some good. But man, that man sold so many in a row.
Paulo got banned by the community for the longest time, bro.
He sure did.
He Brooks
did sell twice.
Dylan Brooks under, man. I thought that guy would for sure be like getting shipped off to China and playing there this year. That dude was a meme.
Dude had a really good world championship though, so I think it kind of saved him.
I think you're right. Baker alternate for sleeper? Pass yards maybe? That's probably what I'd lean. Taylor Swift under 6.5 games attended this year might be a lock. Not under, bro. You gotta take the over. She's already at 1. Dude.
Oh
hey, listen,
God.
Speaking of that, you guys need to start nuking. I'm gonna say nuke. Travis Kelce touchdown when he has a mustache and dating Taylor Swift. He's
God.
2 for 2. We've called it on stream twice, man. If he doesn't shave the stash, lock it in. If Taylor Swift is at the game, dude, put the house. I'm just playing. Don't clip me or anything like that. SGA points was nice. That's my Tyler's guy, man. We love the Thunder. We got to go to some games this year, man. That'd be sick to go to a Thunder game.
Yeah, now that I'm the main guy at this new school, I can cancel whatever. I'm going to games.
Brooks is a top 15 defender in the NBA. Yeah, but when you can be a great defender, but like if you're absolutely just a walking L on the offensive end every single time, you're not gonna win a championship, man. You got to be able to do something on offense, and that dude in the playoffs was a detriment.
Quit using Taylor Swift for clout, says Carly.
Dude, Carly, I've never seen her more invested in a football game ever, except for the Chiefs game yesterday. Just
Tell her
because
to go read
Taylor
a
was there,
book.
man. Just because Taylor was there.
Go read your books, Carly.
Ah! What do we say? We got Jalen
1 unit.
Hurts rushing yards. Yeah, that's solid.
1 unit every time, Eddie.
What did he ask? Oh yeah.
He said, "What? How much we putting on it? We just whatever unit size is your size, then we just put 1 unit."
Yeah.
on
So
it.
like usually 1 to 3% of the bankroll is what we recommend.
Yeah,
so.
something like that. Yeah.
Eddie, I mean, if you have less than $100 or even $500, 5 or 10 is the max for sure. Just one unit. Don't go crazy. We putting 20 on your slip. If you have the bankroll for it, yeah. Just don't go crazy. It's just you want to be when you do 6-mans, guys. You don't want to nuke just one slip. You got to be consistent with it. If you just tail randomly, I mean, you're probably not going to hit the slip. I mean, it's a 6-man parlay. It's not supposed to hit often at all. But as long as you hit 1 in every 25, you're going to profit. And honestly, probably even less than that because, I mean, like you've seen, we've already had some 2x hits too this season with the stream slip. So, I mean, really, we can probably afford to go like 1 in 35 at this rate. So,
yeah, agreed.
Jake.
All right, man, this is going to wrap up me. I think I'm about to have to be called into another duty.
Ah, man, that sucks. No, hey, appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out. We had over 100 this whole time. I'm not sure we may have gotten to 200.
Yeah, we were over 200 most of the time.
But I appreciate you guys coming in and talking basketball too, man. That hypes me up. We love basketball, and we're going to have a lot of NBA streams once NBA is back. First off, Thunder winning a first-round playoff series this year. My guy Luke Ramoser, he freaking knows ball. That's happening, man. That's happening. But for real, thoughts on Swift rush yards before you go? We don't have a lean one way or another. We don't know how many snaps he's going to play. It's low. If you think he's going to get a decent amount of carries tonight, take the over. There's a lot of money to be won on the Eagles running backs if you can figure out a lean one way or another. My guy Fabian said like and sub. Definitely do that before you leave. It helps us out a lot. Guys, we're definitely trying to go. I'll show the slip one more time before we leave, and then we got to get out of here. Tyler's got some kids to mold.
Oh, gosh.
Baker, 33.5 pass attempts over. Rashad White, under 48.5 rush yards. A.J. Brown, over 14.5 fantasy score. Joe Mixon, over 14.5 rush attempts. Stafford, over 35.5 pass attempts. Did I say Mixon pass attempts again?
Yeah, you did.
Mixon rush attempts, man. If Mixon throws the pass tonight, God. Cade Otton, over 4.5 reception targets. And yeah, this is what we're locking in. We'll post it on Twitter here in a little bit too. Appreciate you guys so much for coming in, hanging out with us, and liking and subbing, dude. It means the world to us for real. So, Tyler, you got anything else to say?